All right. Well, I'd like to start with just a recap from Saturday. Certainly, uh, it's not the outcome that we wanted, but you look at your football team and you look at how they prepare and then how they compete. I was proud of the way we competed. Football team went on the road against a top 10 team where you have to play your absolute best to beat a team like Alabama that is, certainly an elite program. But all the tenets and all the principles of, playing this game start about your preparation and then your compete level. You've got to make plays. We got the game into the fourth quarter with a chance to win the game. And unfortunately, we had a deflected pass that set Alabama up on the 25-yard line, which they were able to take advantage of that and extend the game to 14 points. But again, the fight, just the way our guys handled the moment, being in that environment. It's another step that we want to get to. We want to win those games. But again, I was really proud of our football team in the compete level. We've got to coach better in those situations, and we've got to make some more plays, certainly. But I told the team after the game, we did some really good things, but you have to be elite on the road. You have to be elite to beat teams like that, and we're certainly not there yet, but we're closing the gap. And I know nobody wants to hear that. They want to be elite right now, but that team's 45-5 over the last 50 games. They won a national championship, and we're the runners-up. Over the same 50 games, we don't have the same record, but we're going to get there. We're going to get to elite, and we're going to continue to build it and get to that. We need to move on, which we have. Today we'll meet with our football team and turn the page and get ready for Florida. Great rivalry game, an opportunity to play at Tiger Stadium, and certainly for us, the challenge of winning a football game in the SEC. They're very difficult to come by, and this is a game that has always been closely fought. I think 7 of the last games have been decided by, one score. So this will be another great game in Tiger Stadium. I think the things that stand out for me in terms of Florida, some great wins, obviously. The Tennessee win's a great win. The offensive production by Graham Mertz this year, 17 touchdowns, 2,500 yards. He's thrown at 75% completion, outstanding. The running game is as good as there is in the SEC with Johnson and Etienne. And Pearsall and Wilson, the freshmen, 2 outstanding wide receivers. So this is a really good offense. It's really built on the running game, play action. They'll take some shots. They've got really an elusive runner in Wilson when he's got the football in his hands, and then a big play guy in Pearsall. Defensively, again, they're playing a lot of young guys on defense, athletic, and can run to the football. And again, they're looking, to build on some really good performances they've had during the year. So, again, this will be a great matchup, and one that certainly our kids want to be able to, be home in Tiger Stadium against a rivalry game like this. So, with that, we'll open up to questions.
We got Coach here on the right. The status of Jaden Daniels this week and what the plans are for him, and then your thoughts now that on the hit and anything that y'all might review at the office.
Yeah, I think I would consider him day to day. He's going through the injury protocol, and he's made improvements. But but this is a process that we'll just have to, see how it plays out from day to day. But I can tell you that he's made some progress. Yeah, look, we want to protect the quarterback, and certainly there was a penalty on the play. Targeting is looked at by the replay officials. They had plenty of time. I think we even went to, there was a timeout there as well. So there was plenty of time to look at it. They must have felt that there wasn't targeting. We sent it into the league office because we felt like it checked all the boxes. But again, we want to protect the quarterback here, obviously.
After looking at the tape, anything defensively that maybe you felt schematically you could have helped your team with?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think you're always looking at things that you can, do over. Hindsight is 20/20, right? I mean, could we have spied the quarterback? Absolutely. There were third down situations that, third and long that clearly we felt like we wanted to be in, more coverage, and we felt like our unit pass rush could keep them in the pocket. That did not prove to be the case. I would say that was probably, the number one thing in terms of if we had to do some things coaching-wise differently, we probably would have employed a spy technique.
Coach, kind of piggybacking off that question, when you're at halftime making defensive adjustments and talking things over, was it the same dilemma on how many do we drop and so forth? And do you feel like you made the proper halftime adjustments?
Yeah, I mean, we went out 28-21. We scored first. Again, we got to the fourth quarter, it was 35-28, and, we get a deflected ball. And they end up on the 25-yard line, and that was the difference. They had the ball for 11 minutes to our 3 and change in the fourth quarter. We did not convert a third or a fourth down, on offense, and they converted 2 out of 3 third downs. So we didn't have the ball, and when Jaden went out, we weren't effective and as efficient on the offensive side of the ball. So I don't know that. Look, we have spy within our package. We didn't utilize it in certain situations that, in retrospect, would have been a great call. That's not really a halftime adjustment per se. You have that in your plan. That's just a matter of making that call. I remember clearly writing up on the board, for our football team, in the second half was tackling better. We needed better leverage. Our eyes needed to be better. And I felt like if we did those things, we were going to be in good shape. And then from an offensive standpoint, it was, continue to have the balance that we had.
Brian, down here in the front, just at this point in the season, how would you evaluate the performance of your defensive coaches to this point?
Look, we're playing the players that are best suited to get the time necessary, and I think they're developing. I thought we did a heck of a job battling a big and powerful offensive unit against Alabama. I thought our defensive line was battling and was physical. They didn't knock us off the ball. A lot of their running game, we had one misfit in the B gap, and the quarterback ran on us. So I think coming off a shutout against Army, coming off a really good performance against Auburn, and then the back end of the Missouri game, I think there's been really good progress from a defensive standpoint. That was a team that played very well, and we set their offense up on the 25-yard line, and then we didn't convert a fourth down, which gave them, a half field to deal with on a fourth down that we didn't make as well. So overall, as I mentioned, could we have made a couple of calls to get the quarterback spied? Absolutely. But we're making the kind of progress that I need to see from a defensive standpoint.
Coach, piggybacking off what Wilson just asked, in the offseason, I know it's kind of an offseason deal, how much of a deep dive will you do as far as defensively? And do you think it's a big fix, a little fix, or somewhere in between?
Yeah, we're going to save those questions, and I respect the question, but my focus is on Florida right now and stopping their inside zone game. That really is. I respect the question, and certainly there's going to be a time for those questions, and we'll answer those questions. But my mind is really wrapped around getting another win, playing at a high level, and beating Florida right now.
Just from the running game perspective, outside of Jaden, it just seemed that you guys weren't able to get as much push against Bama. Just what did you see from the run game, and just how do you kind of get that back on track?
Yeah, I mean, look, we got behind. We didn't throw the ball in the fourth quarter, I don't think, at all. Run the ball at all in the fourth quarter. So, I think some of it is, skewed a little bit based upon, the circumstances within the game. Yeah, they're stout. They're physical. We felt like it was going to be one of the better defenses that we have seen. But yeah, I think we'll continue to evolve from an offensive standpoint in terms of looking at things that we can do in the running game. I think they were very stingy, and we'll have to continue to evaluate where we need to go.
How important is this week for Garrett, especially just for the potential that he could start in this game and actually mentally prepare to get those starter reps?
I think every week has been important for him in terms of preparation. Certainly, we're going to make sure that he is ready. There's some things we got to clean up, and he knows it. So, yeah, I would say that he clearly recognizes that there's some things that he's got to do better during practice, and he's up for it, and I'm sure he's excited about it.
Yeah, how will you approach practice this week with Jaden being questionable? And then so much of the talk last week was about the young corners. How do you think they held up?
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll take Jaden's situation, day by day, and we're hopeful and that things continue to move in the right direction. But you always have to prepare yourself for the eventuality of both quarterbacks playing, and we'll continue to do that. And Garrett really knows that there's some things that he's got to work on during the week. So I think we'll just be a lot more of a focused working kind of situation for him, in that it's he's one snap away from getting in the game. I thought Javon Toviano played solid. Ball got outside the defense one time where his eyes weren't exactly there, but he was physical. He was on body, and for a first start on the road, I would say that we were pleased with his performance. Ashton Stamps got a chance to play as well. He did exactly what we asked him to do when he was out there on nickel. So, two freshmen playing on the road for the first time at Alabama, pretty good baptism for those two young guys.
Coach will be first time coaching after LSU loses to Alabama. A lot of years here in the past, there's been a letdown because a lot of the goals are off the table, winning the Wests. How do you avoid against a letdown? What do you tell your team this week?
It's the same thing about, what last week was about. It wasn't an emotional week. It was a preparation week for us. So this week will be the same. We need to prepare. Listen, it goes to what I said. Like, if we want to be elite, we have to be consistent. We won 10 games last year. You need to win 10 again. And that's in front of you. So you have an opportunity to win 10 games again this season. And if you want to start closing the gap towards being elite, then back-to-back 10-win seasons starts to do that. So it's a challenge to our football team in terms of how do you want this program to continue to grow. It's on your shoulders, and you have an opportunity to continue to get better. Coaches need to get better, and players clearly need to get better. And so this is a great opportunity, playing a really good opponent at home, and you've got a chance to move from being a good team to being a great team.
I guess that was kind of my question. Today, people debate what games like this or the games mean moving forward, but 10-3 in your book, obviously much better than 8-5 or what have you, right? Is it harder to get that message across to them in today's college football?
Look, to me, I always break it down by not the wins and losses. It's about who do you want to be. You have choices, right? You can be bad at things if you want to be bad at things. You can be average at things, 500's average. You can be good at things, maybe that's 7 or 8 wins. You can be great or elite. I think we can be so much better than good. We can be great, and great requires more of a commitment, and so they're going to have to give more this week. The coaches are going to have to give more. The players are going to have to give more. So if you're not interested in being great or elite, you have choices to make. I want to be around great. I want to be around elite, because that's what this program. I didn't come down to LSU to be good. I came here to be elite. And our players that sign scholarship papers here, I'm sure they do it because they want to be elite too. I know our fan base doesn't want good. I can tell already that that's not the case. It's about being elite. So these are weeks where you're talking about, why are you here? I know why I'm here. Why are you here? We're here on this chase to be elite. And so this week is going to require you to work on these things totally, physically, technically, tactically, mentally, if you want to be elite.
Coach, right here, Greg Penn said something that you kind of iterated throughout the season of, guys not maybe doing their jobs. Do you attribute that more to, after watching the film, a quarterback in Milroe that can improvise really well, or guys just trying to do too much to make up for some deficiencies?
Yeah, so this journey that we're on about, it's not about talent, it's about talent and traits, and building traits where there's, an attention to detail, the fine details, has to happen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You just don't show up on Saturday and go, you know what, I'm going to have attention to detail today. So that's the process that we're in within this program, is building that attention to detail, that when you have a tutor's appointment at 9:30, you don't show up at 10:30. You show up at 9:25. That's attention to detail. Or when there's a meeting that is at 2 o'clock, you don't show up at 1:59. That attention to detail takes a lot of time. It takes consistency and building those habits. We're working on that. We are not a finished product, but they're working hard to get there. We're just not there yet. And that, when you get there, you start to move yourself up from good to great to elite.
Coach, has this whole thing over the last 2 years been harder than you thought it might be, or do you think it's kind of exactly what you expected when you got here?
This was going to be hard work, and I felt like it was, but it's been matched with the want to and the desire to do it. It's just habit forming and doing things the right way every day outside of football and inside of football is not an easy task. Being elite is hard. It's really hard. And if it's just the level of good, we're pretty close to being that. Look, we've lost 3 times to top 10 teams on the road, okay? That doesn't matter. If you want to be elite, you got to beat those teams on the road. And we beat a top 20 team in Missouri on the road. People can say, well, that's good. That's good. You lost to the teams you're supposed to lose to. You beat the teams you're supposed to win. We're not here for that. So to get to elite is really hard, and these guys are working towards that. It just takes some time.
Coach, down here, besides Jaden, are there any other injuries that you're following? Particularly Zai Alexander, maybe?
Oh, yeah, Zai is not going to be able to play.
So, Brian, obviously, as you said, you're focused on this week winning this game, but you're also having to focus on the big picture. Does over time, is your hope that becomes less, that things become more ingrained, in terms of what you're trying to get in terms of a big picture for the program, and you get to focus a little more on the. I don't want to say it's detracting from each and every game. I don't mean that, but it sounds like you're trying to instill things in the program that need to be put in that maybe hadn't existed before.
Look, the building a championship program and a program that has the ability to win national championships has to have all of those foundational principles that I talked to, including in recruiting. And we've just started recruiting, and we had a great recruiting class last year. We're on page to have another really good recruiting class. We have to build it through recruiting as well. So recruiting, retention, and developing the standards and the culture of a championship culture within your program. All of those things together, moving at one speed. All of them together. So it's not just building the traits and building the championship mindset and building that within your team. You're also talking about retaining players in your program and recruiting players. So all of that together, we're moving forward and making really good progress. It's just not at the elite level yet.
Ryan, down here specifically with Jaden, is there a plan for him to practice tomorrow at this point? Do you just not know yet?
Today is not a practice day, so we didn't have to make that determination. We wouldn't make that determination until tomorrow when he goes through the next stage of his protocol.
Okay. So at this point, you can't quite decide yet, like how you would split up reps between him and Garrett or anything like that? That's all going to be, like you said, kind of day to day?
That would probably be day to day, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
One more.
Seems to be a theme today. Do you think Jaden's high level of play has accelerated the expectations for the program and not just this individual team?
I really hadn't thought about that. Listen, my expectations are the same as everybody else's expectations. Our offense is ahead of our defense. I want our defense to catch up, certainly, right? Our offense is one of the best, if not one of the best offense in the country. But we're not at the same level. We have to continue to build, and we have to continue to recruit. We have to continue to coach at the highest level, and that's just not the case yet. But we're going to continue to get there, and we're going to continue to make the progress. I was asked the question, where do you feel your defense is? We're making progress defensively. It might not be at the level we all want to, but we have to then in the off season look at, all right, where are we in all phases? Kind of the question that Ed brought up is the bigger picture. We'll do a deeper dive at the end of the season on all those other things because we have to be able to catch up to where our offense is. Good? All right.